Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sedacca, founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, and I'm delighted to have another expert series interview for you today. And I have a guest who has some valuable tools that I know everyone who is facing divorce, going through divorce, or has already been divorced, it doesn't matter for how long, if you love your children and you're trying to coordinate the co-parenting experience on any level, then this is something of great interest for you. My guest today is Sleeman, and she's president of Kids on Time. Kids on Time. Hi, Ann. I'm so happy to have you join us today, and I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about your program, and then we'll get into some questions.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm honored to be a guest.
Oh, well, thank you. Kids on Time is a new co-parenting tool designed to enhance, simplify, and improve the lives of all parents who use it. And their ultimate goal has been to make the lives of your kids better, with greater involvement and participation by both parents. And boy, we certainly endorse that at the Child-Centered Divorce Network. Shared parenting isn't always easy, as we know, but it is always worth it, and Kids on Time makes it easier. That's why I'm so excited about this particular tool. Each of the features has been designed with co-parenting in mind, and the founder's own personal experience with divorce and shared parenting is what led to the creation of the most comprehensive suite of integrated tools available. So Kids on Time co-parenting tools are now available not only on the web but also for your mobile devices, and that makes it extremely user-friendly for the lifestyle that we're all living in today's busy world. So, Ann, I'm very interested in having our listeners hear a little bit about what led you to develop Kids on Time, and what was your inspiration and motivation behind creating it?
Sure, great. First of all, we have just celebrated our first birthday here, so we're really happy with that.
Congratulations.
Our motivation, thanks. Our motivation was almost 100% personal. The co-founders had gone through divorce and had been co-parents and step-parents, and through the trials and tribulations of that, we realized that there just had to be a better way to communicate and to exist and to kind of minimize the stress, mostly in the lives of the kids. The calendar products, for example, that were on the market, they're all well and good, but they weren't designed specifically with co-parenting in mind. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to design something that we personally would have loved to have had, and that we would have had less stress in our lives, and our kids would have been better, and the communication with the co-parent would have been easier.
Yeah, well, that's something too many of us learn the hard way, and it's so wonderful to know now that you could dive right into a product such as that and have all of that assistance designed for you by people who had the experience of being divorced, being co-parents themselves. So you understood the nuances of what was involved.
Yeah, absolutely, and we tell stories all the time. If I could just tell a quick kind of funny story about one of our favorite features here at Kids on Time is the automatic check-in feature, and it was specifically designed based on one of the co-founders' experiences with their former wife. Because every time he had to pick up the kids, and he tells the story a little bit more animated probably than I do because it's more personal to him, but every time he had to pick up his kids, his former wife wanted him to call him. And that caused stress and anxiety, when he was going to pick up the phone. And every time he called, she would always get into something and want to start something. And he had the kids in the back of the car, and the kids could pick up on his, personal stress level. So what's really great, and he was the main reason why we created the check-in feature, is now with just a click of a button, the other parent knows when and where you are and that you have the kids, so there's no more need for that call.
That's great. That's very interesting because I know one of the areas that creates the most problems is when children are around and they're eavesdropping on, overhearing, or just looking at the co-parents interacting and picking up on conflict, which churns their stomachs and creates a lot of tension for children and creates a lot of the negative, harmful effects of divorce that we're trying so desperately hard to eliminate and ease away through educating parents. So that's really excellent.
Absolutely, Rosalind. It's amazing how much kids really do pick up on a lot of that. And we designed a lot of our program around couples who are more in high conflict. We knew that if we made the tool where people who are in those not so amicable relationships, if it could work for them, then everybody else would kind of fall into place. And that check-in feature that I just mentioned is just one of the many examples where
that's excellent because everything. If we could do it for the high conflict families, then we know everyone else is going to benefit even more easily. So I wanted to
if they have an easy time, everyone has an easy time.
Exactly. So who exactly are your ideal people who want to use these co-parenting tools? Who were you designing all of this for?
Sure. Well, any parent who's divorced, separated, blended, step-parent. Again, we designed it with high conflict in mind, but for those people who are fortunate enough to have a more amicable relationship, those are perfect also. I find for the parents who are kind of newer to co-parenting, it really, really makes sense because when you're new to co-parenting, you're newly separated or divorced, the whole world is so overwhelming. Everything's just different and crazy and stressful. And having these tools, these co-parenting tools, Kids on Time, it just makes everything more organized and you can communicate better, which makes your life better. It's kind of like when your house is a mess, you have laundry all over the place, or your car's it just adds stress. And with our co-parenting tools, the stress is minimized. And when the parent stress is minimized, that has a direct impact on the kids. And, if the parents are less stressed, then the kids are going to thrive more and be more well-adjusted, and that's what our main goal is. So I think it's good for all parents who are separated, divorced, or even in the military where they're on deployments, but especially those who are new because that's just that added level of stress and feeling of overwhelmedness, if that's a word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and unfortunately every day new people join that group of parents who are needing this help. So let's talk about some of the features, the specific features of Kids on Time. And I know some people just aren't that computer savvy and may be intimidated by the thought of having anything online that they're going to be entering into or participating in. And is there a big learning curve for getting involved?
Sure, that's a great question, Rosalind. And when we designed the app, we knew that it had to be really intuitive. And even for the people who are the most novice computer user, we wanted to make sure that it was fairly easy to understand. We have a good help system online. We have online chat. We have videos to take them through a tour. And given the number of users that we have and how many support requests we get, I feel that we've done a pretty good job in accomplishing making it user-friendly. We've also just launched our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/kidsontime, in which people can access some of our videos as well. Let me think. So what we normally recommend is starting with, well, let me go into the some of the features.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Our parenting online shared parenting calendar is something I'm really proud of. It's one of the most advanced parenting time calendars on the market. It has drag and drop appointment schedules. It has enhanced parenting time schedules and location mapping with that mobile check-in feature that we talked about. So that's one of the main features. Another main feature is the parent-to-parent messenger, which it's similar to texting, where you can post topics and reply to your parent, and you do get a notification when that happens. There's a money manager where you can share expenses and divide expenses with your co-parent, and it's really logical and laid out easy to understand, and that way both parents can make decisions about finances and expenditures that make sense for the family. One of the biggest differentiators of the Kids on Time program, and something I'm really excited about and really proud of, is our Good Stuff Wellness Center. And what that is, Rosalind, is, and let me just kind of go back a little bit, when parents get divorced or separated, it seems like many of their conversations are around money, parenting time, and things that are stressful, and things that they used to talk about when they were together, good grades or making a sports team or getting a role in a play or just being a good kid, like all that stuff that gets talked about when a couple is together seems to kind of get lost when parents are no longer living in the same home. So what the Good Stuff Center allows them to do is talk about those things again. So if a good grade is had when the child is at your house, the other parent will know. So when the custody switch happens, then the mom or the dad who didn't have custody at the time will be like, hey, I see that you got an A on that English paper. That's awesome. And then they can speak positively to their children about stuff that they might not have otherwise known about.
I love
and
that.
What we found, I love it. Like I sometimes I almost well up just because we've had so many users who were in that high conflict group who couldn't even stand to be in the same room with each other, who through the Good Stuff Journal are now able to, even, believe it or not, like this isn't even embellished, attend sporting events together for their kids. So that, if we can do that with just one family, like, we've accomplished our goals.
You are so right. That's wonderful. That was a very insightful direction to move in. I really like hearing about that. Are there any other features you want to mention?
Yeah, in that same Good Stuff Wellness Center, we also have a series of videos that we were so fortunate. Megan Hunter, who co-founded the High Conflict Institute, created this video series for us, specifically for kind of some topics that aren't always easy to handle, and there's a whole series of videos done by her. We also have an online bookstore with selected titles specifically to co-parenting and high conflict and raising kids, so people don't have to go look on Amazon or any other source. They're all right there at their fingertips. So that's just a couple of the features, and I don't want to take up, I could talk about the Kids on Time features for probably 2 hours. Other things like this Family Essentials, where the medical information and kids' shoe sizes and favorite colors and all that is there. A digital diary to upload and share photos and videos and other important documents. That's part of the Kids on Time suite of tools. Then there's a schoolwork planner where you input the kids, teachers, and schools and homework. And again, this comes from personal experience, having raised as a stepmom a teenage boy who notoriously didn't know what his homework was or would do it and not hand it in. So he was the inspiration, without getting into too much detail, God love him, the schoolwork planner. That pretty much rounds out the suite. And you asked kind of like, is it intuitive and so forth, and I want to just kind of round back to that if I may.
Yeah.
All those tools can be a little bit overwhelming, not to overuse the term overwhelming when you first look at it. I mean, that's, 7 or 8 tools that I just mentioned. So what we recommend when you sign up for Kids on Time is we recommend that you start simply. You start just inputting your personal information, because you know all that. Input the kids. Then set up your calendar with your parenting time and any events that you have coming up. And the parenting time is all color-coded. Then, once you do that, that's when you can then go and invite your co-parent. And that way you get kind of a little bit of a feel for the app and how it works before you kind of dig into some of those other features. But that's kind of what we recommend to kind of ease into that.
That makes a lot of sense, and that brings me to the next logical question. I want to ask you what makes Kids on Time different, and I imagine you feel superior to other programs that are similar that are online now. So, why do you think that you really have the best version?
Sure, absolutely, and thanks for asking that, Rosalind. Like I mentioned, I think one of the biggest differentiators of Kids on Time is our Wellness Center. We're the only ones on the market who have anything like that. There are other tools on the market that focus on litigation, and at Kids on Time, we really, truly try to bring the parents' focus back to the kids and have a wellness approach to co-parenting. Because that's what we feel and truly believe is important is the kids. And you said it in your intro, co-parenting isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And that's kind of not a tagline, so to speak, but it's something that we truly believe, like, I don't want to deal with that person. All right, well, these tools make it so that you don't have to actually talk to them. You don't have to deal with them with that. So we really want to just have the parents' focus be on the kids as opposed to litigation in court and things like that.
Well, the child-centered divorce totally endorses all of that. We're on
the same page there, right, Rosalind?
Absolutely. That is definitely the direction that we want all of our parents to understand the importance on behalf of the children that their focus goes there. So having tools that are lending them and moving them in that direction and supporting them to look for positive ways of staying connected is just wonderful. I think that's really, really valuable.
Great. And on that note, I just wanted to offer, too, for anyone who's listening in today to the call and anyone who follows you in child-centered divorce, we do have a 30-day free trial. If they just go to our website, www.kidsontime.com, for a limited time, they will be able to take full advantage of that.
Well, thank you. That sounds great. A 30-day free trial is really wonderful, and that's not only good for people who are new to this and saying, well, I ought to dive in and give it a shot, but it's also good for people who maybe are using another system and want to make comparisons and see if you really are living up to all the things that you're saying that sound so advantageous. So that's a fabulous
Absolutely.
offer. Can you tell us about the cost?
Yeah, just on that note, just to kind of piggyback on that, and then I'll get into the cost. If they are using something else, we do have a lot more features, and we're about half the price as most of the other ones on the market.
Wow, well, that's impressive. Tell us.
So, there's 3 different payment options, Rosalind. You can pay annually for the whole family is $99. So that covers both parents, and if you want to invite step-parents or a professional, it's $99 for the year. If that's too much to swallow as a one-time payment, it's no worries. You can pay monthly, again covering the whole family, both parents, step-parents, etc., for $10 a month. Or if you want to split the payment and have each co-parent cover half, that's also no worries, and it's $49.50 for each parent or each co-parent per year, equaling that same $99.
Yes,
so go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. Finish.
We really didn't want to make the price of the software an added stress, and so that's why we kept the price points where we did, so that people can feel good and confident about about buying the product and not having it an added stress, $10
so that's why we gave is
it's a
quite
coffee.
Amazing. Yeah, to have all of those services, and I love the fact that whether your co-parent was thinking about it or not, they're on board. How could they resist not participating when once it's there? All they have to do is participate in. So it makes it even easier to get both of them on board at the same time. And I understand that some of the competitors, each parent has to pay separately.
Yes. Yep. And I don't know all the details about the payments of all that. When we created the pricing structure of Kids on Time, believe it or not, I didn't even know we had a competitor. So we just created it again so it would be easy to swallow and something pretty much anyone can handle. And for some reason, we were drinking coffee, and the price of a cup of coffee kind of came up. So that's where we came up with $10 a month, and then
that certainly
$90.
Sounds like it's more than fair. And do you have users beyond just the United States?
Oh my gosh, yes. We have users and Joe keeps track of Joe's the other co-founder with myself, the countries better than I, but I believe the latest numbers are we have users in 10 different countries, with a fairly strong presence in the U.S., Canada, and the UK. But I think we just got I know we have some users down in New Zealand now, and I think that was country number 10.
Fabulous. Well,
so anywhere you have internet, you can have Kids on Time. And I don't know if you knew this, Rosalind, but we're really excited, and I can't believe I didn't mention this before. Our application is available in English and in Spanish. So for any of your listeners who are in the Spanish-speaking community, the app is fully in Spanish and fully available on the web and mobile in Spanish. So we're really excited about that, and I believe we were the first to market to offer a Spanish app as well.
That's excellent. I'm curious, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I was wondering if you have any personal anecdotal stories about any families that you know of who've benefited from using your service. Just, a peek into if you've gotten any letters from people saying that it's really made a difference for them now that they have access to these tools.
Yeah, I don't have those letters right here in front of me, but I do have some that they'll be somewhat paraphrased just because they're only in my head and not
I was just wondering if you could just tell us a story or two about what people are saying.
Yep. Well, one of the stories I kind of hinted at before was with the family who is high conflict. They actually were court mandated to take a online parenting class, and when they completed the class recommended that kind of as grad school, if you will, to use Kids on Time co-parenting tools. Now, I was at their graduation. I was physically there, and these two, even after their parenting class, were crossed-armed and couldn't stand each other. They even said that the woman said, "I'm never going to like the person I co-parent with," which, there was kind of mumbled snickers in the back of the courtroom where the graduation took place. And this couple did not get along at all. And they started using Kids on Time. And through the Good Stuff program and the Good Stuff app, they were kind of like the first ones where I realized that it really is so powerful. They both committed to use it, and they both started to write good things that they have two kids, were doing. And it took a couple months, but picture them cross-armed after parenting class. They're now they go to soccer together. That story is one of my favorite stories that we have.
That is so wonderful.
Another great story that we have, and I don't have as many details, something we didn't mention in our wellness center is we have access to the Easter Seals has this questionnaire, the Ages and Stages questionnaire. And what that is, Rosalind, it's for children who are 0 to 5. Mm-hmm. And it's a series of questions to catch developmental problems or diagnoses. And, of course, a lot of parents, it seems, get divorced when their kids are in that crucial 0 to 5 year time frame or age group. And there's little things with kids, switching houses and so forth that may be missed. And they were able to use this, and they actually caught a problem that their kid was having through the Ages and Stages questionnaire that was part of their Kids on Time application. And they were able to then go and seek help. And I don't know all the details, with what's going on with the kid or whatever, but they sent us a letter and basically just said that we were a godsend and thank you. And if we didn't have access to this Easter Seals questionnaire and access to Kids on Time, we probably would have missed this developmental, this thing.
That's powerful.
Yeah, so it's letters like that come in, and it's just like, again, I don't want to sound overly emotional because I don't think I am, but they just bring tears to your eyes, and they make you really know that you're doing something good and positive and you're making people's lives better, which I think if everybody makes the world a little bit better, then the world's just going to be a better place. So it just makes me feel good about what we're doing.
Totally agree, and that's how I feel about the Child-Centered Divorce Network. I get those letters every day, and you just know that you're reaching out to people and helping. So that there's no feeling that's better than that.
Absolutely. I agree. That's why we do this, right?
Absolutely. That's why we do this. So, Anne, tell us where people can go to sign up for Kids on Time, and if they catch you during the right time period for the 30-day free trial. But regardless, where do they find you so that they can get started?
Yeah, www.kidsontime.com, just like it sounds, KIDSONTIME.com. We're also on Twitter @kidsontime.com, and you can like us on Facebook as well. I think it's just /KidsOnTime. But to take advantage of that limited time 30-day free trial, again, it's www.kidsontime.com.
Terrific. So I think we've covered a lot of territory. Is there anything you want to say in closing to remind our listeners about the value of paying attention to co-parenting as effectively as possible?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you to you, Rosalind. This has been really a great experience, and I really appreciate you helping us get the word out there. And I think a final word is, again, going back to our co-parenting isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. And for those of your listeners who are still kind of parallel parenting or parenting in tandem, so to speak, or shared parenting and not yet co-parenting, I think it's important that they try to make the effort to do just that, to co-parent, because it really makes a difference in the lives of their kids, and their kids will be more resilient and more well-rounded. And I think that's really every parent's goal and want. Well,
thank you. That was well put, and I love the fact that your tools are also helping people who are in blended families and step families and all those other related areas where children and parents are trying to make life as smooth and easy as possible despite the challenges that have come our way. That's what it's all about, and having resources like yours has really been very, very useful for so many people, and I know will continue to be. So thank you very much. And Sleeman, Kids on Time, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the insights that you've shared with us.
Thanks so much, Rosalind, and have a great day.
You too. And everyone, I hope that you will visit us at the Child Centered Divorce Network at childcentereddivorce.com. And also, if you're in the early stages and need to learn about breaking the divorce news to your children, visit howdoitellthekids.com to see my signature book, How Do I Tell the Kids About the Divorce, a create a storybook guide to preparing your children with love. Look forward to interacting with you all soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now. This is Rosalind Sedacca.